Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield. I'm a professional dancer, professional dance choreographer, and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States. And today, I'm going to be looking at all of the K-pop battles between all the crews of Straight Woman Fighter Season 2. So I'm going to go in order of the playlist that Choom has. Now I know voting is closed, and I don't think they've released who've won yet. Or at least I don't know who's won yet. So I'm gonna also be comparing the two groups after each challenge or each set of groups go. I'm going to kind of make my vote of who I think will probably win out over the other. So yeah, so let's go ahead and get into our first group, Deep in Dop. Let's do it. Strong start.
I'm on the next level, yeah.
So they're hitting a lot of the staccato at the top of the music. I like the formations. Yeah. That was cute. So I feel like there's a lot of like get in a place and then do your move and then do your next move, go to your next place, do your move. So it doesn't feel as connected. A lot of the movements aren't as connected. She did a dip. There. Yeah, it feels very like here's our movement, which is kind of validating what I've said about their crew performance that I reacted to earlier this week. Okay, so they did a mashup. That was a nice little moment. I'm gonna say that those wrist rolls were not as clean as they needed to be, and they didn't verify what kind of pocket they were in that. So, yeah, their formation is off here too, right here. Formation is still off right here. Firstly, okay, I get it. I like the wordplay there. Okay. Okay, so that was the first one. This is SM, right? So it's them against LADYBOUNCE. Let's take a look back at and kind of just walk through what my thoughts are. Initial thought, I mean, I feel the exact same way as I did when I saw their crew performance video. If you haven't seen those, please check it out. I watched that first before I watched these, so I hope that would possibly give you more context behind some of my analysis that I'm about to give here, because it is going to be stemmed back from that as a group. So, okay. Like I've said before, they are starting to show their limitations of they're not actually getting in the music. They're dancing on top of it. So whenever you notice here, this beginning was nice. That was nice. I really liked that. Going into the circle. It's a nice creative way to do that. And the next level. I really think that they could have done, this crew is just showing me that they really could do so much more, but they're not doing it. So that's like, I'm on the next level. Like, this feels very simple compared to what you can do. Now, once again, it's a K-pop challenge in the sense of, are they emulating a K-pop artist and they're trying to make it look like if this was the K-pop choreography, we want this to be the K-pop choreography, then I can understand it to a certain extent. But even in this day and age, with Generation 4, they are really stepping up the density of complexity of choreography for their dances. So I don't even think simplicity, like being super simple, is enough anymore if you're wanting to showcase and win out over somebody else in choreo. Yeah. Also too, for me, when you're doing crew battles, I tailor more towards when everybody is wearing the same family of garment, but not the exact same thing. Reason is that when you look at the culture of street styles, especially in hip hop, whenever crews are represented, they have a family of colors, right? Like they have their color, but each person has their own individual aesthetic about it. Now, it makes your routine cleaner whenever you are wearing the same thing, but the authenticity of your presence is going to kind of go down a little bit, which I really feel like they can't afford as of right now with what they've shown me so far. Like, that was a nice little groove down here with the switching of the weight and then creating that chest accent. So that's really nice, slow. But do you notice that they don't have complex musicality? And I feel like that's something that you need in a show like this, because you're going up against other crews. Like, they're going up against LADYBOUNCE, and LADYBOUNCE had a very different visual for their crew showcase. So I don't know what they're gonna bring to the table, but that was a nice little moment there. But some of I think what I just noticed right there, some people, there's just basic cleaning mistakes that are happening here. You know, some people are letting their head go and some people are keeping it to the front. That should have been something established when you cleaned it. And even there, I know we have one person being the focal point, so it's fine if she wasn't doing it, but Mina should have also been putting her head out just like she was if you wanted to make that the dancers are looking away and your focal point is front. You know, we have our different features. Yeah, so I think that's my overall note with all of this, is that they're going boom, like they're hitting a staccato in a lot of their movement with the chest, with their hands, with their back, with their legs, but there's no variety outside of those things that I'm seeing, you know? They're melting. That's a nice little ripple. And they have some good tutting moments too, but it just feels placed. That's nice with a little bone, like not bone breaking, but like a kind of position that, you know, it's a double jointed kind of situation with a little dip there. So they're going with the femme approach, which is cool, but it's just too simple for the competition, in my opinion. I think they could have done so much more. That was a nice lift to the basket. That was nice. But look right here, she is that formation could have been a little better. They corrected it right there. That was a nice moment there. But there's so much more that you can do in the music, that you hear in the back. They haven't hit that once. They're just hitting the staccato. And now they switch the song out. There. You know, okay, so now you're going into a more masculine approach, but they're not getting any lower than 90 degrees in their rock. Like, they're not, that's kind of a wrong way to put it. They're not really engaging in the chest all the way through these movements. They're like doing it and then they're doing choreo and then they're going back into doing it intentionally and then they're going back and doing choreo, when in actuality, when you're doing this kind of stuff, you need to have that groove matched throughout the whole thing if you want it to stay cohesive. So just this stuff right here, they're trying to be strong, but it's not coming across strong because of what I just said, because they're not using their torso like at all. You know what I'm saying? They're using their upper back, and the reason why I see that is because I have to train my dancers to not do that either, because that whenever you train in a studio style, you're trained 5 times more to hold a particular posture than to hit a street style groove and a rock and a bounce. So whenever you have dancers who aren't utilizing their actual back and their torso, but they're just using their shoulders and their arms, it's gonna be like they're hitting a sound, but it's hollow. It's a hollow hit to me. You know, that was nice because they used the thing, but there was a little bit right there. She lost her balance a little bit right here. Yeah, like, and then they kind of recovered it. But like right here, it honestly feels like it's starting to fall apart a little bit because she is further apart here. It looks like her range isn't as big as everybody else over here. They were in a little group. She was by herself, but they were supposed to be all together. Then you have the rest of the group here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 people in a crew. Okay, so let me make a correction real quick because I just released, while I'm filming this, I just released my trailer. I said 6 people. I'm so sorry. There's 7 people that are competing. I will get it together eventually. I'm sorry. Okay, so I made a note about this. Let me see if she was late. She was the only person that hit the opposite way, and then everybody corrected. So I don't know if that was on purpose. That didn't look like it. So she did her step, da 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 da. Okay, that looks like she made a mistake. So she went forward and then she corrected it, because you notice she didn't fully commit to the back end of the rebound, and that's how you know that that was a mistake. There's also a chance they only had one take. I have no idea. If you want to actually, or maybe they had a certain amount of time in order to film it. That's a pretty true choreography, like a choreography competition, kind of. If you want to keep it fair, only give people one shot, or only allow them 2 run-throughs or something like that. So I'm going to assume that's what happened because of time constraint, because of TV, time is money. But like da 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 da, like that, she's trying to hit like a locking nuance, but I really didn't like it here because of what they've been demonstrating up until this point. It just feels hollow. Like, it doesn't feel like they're actually integrating the posture of a locking position, because they haven't demonstrated proper posture and a lot of other nuances that they've demonstrated in their set so far, and that's really disappointing. And I'm sorry if I am coming across as a little bit blunt, because I was blunt with this group the last time I reacted to them, but I can't not see that, because even there she did a wrist roll all the way up on this side, but she didn't complete it on this side. So like, watch, so look, complete it. Yeah, like this one, it kind of flew up and then she finished it. I don't know if that was like supposed to be a variation. I don't know. It wasn't clear. Like, and then she made a mistake right there. They bounced around. That was a nice little moment. You know, I wish she would have did a body roll. A little bit bigger body roll, because I think she started it, but it didn't finish it. That right there. It's just, I just don't think they cleaned this section as much as they could have. Look at the feet. She didn't twist her feet, but everybody else did. That's a little detail that matters. That right there, they're like, okay, let's do this. Like, I don't think they established how to execute each of these groups that they set in their unison sections. And whenever you're going off of cleanliness or who had the better set, that kind of stuff will matter, which makes me curious about some of the other crews, because I stated before that other crews, they have their own individual style. So I'm curious how their unison sections will look, and if it is where you can overlook the fact that they're not the same in the groove, or if it takes away. This is an example of them not being on the same page. When you wear the same costume, everyone's doing the same thing, where it can take away from the overall look of and cleanliness of your unison because of the range of motion you're doing. That right there, da 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 da, like how she finished this, it looked like she was really trying to just get there and trying to finish it back. It didn't look like it was da 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 da, you know, like there's a sense of presence that you can have whenever you hit a type of a whack, and also to incomplete wrist rolls into kind of nothingness. Like, you have to be very careful whenever you do whacking or you do a femme style that deals with angles and strikes and posing and posture. So I would include Vogue in this too, with like your handography. You have to be very careful to make sure that it makes sense. Most styles, when you do freestyle, you have to make what you're going for make sense. Your choreography is even more so. That little bit right there, it made sense because she went into an angle, she established an angle, but just how she went into it and came out of it, it kind of felt like she was really trying to hit a certain part of the music. She hit it, but it wasn't a confident hit. It was like, oh, thank goodness she hit it, right? Or oh good, I was able to hit it that time. Kind of like that. And this is where I'm in the place where she should have backed up a lot faster, because I got too distracted at the fact that this formation is off in center. Yeah, and those little things are what can make your crew not win. Really. There, and like, look, we have my person up here, we have somebody up here, we have her in the center. So like, I don't know if that was intentional, that they wanted to angle it out, but because they're framing their dance forward and they're not angling it to the corner, I don't think it's justifiable to have one person back here when she should be mirroring right here. If she's going to be in the middle, I would rather her commit to being right here and have her move up and actually frame her properly, or change the choreography to tailor to the corner. So it's intentional that you wanted her to do that, or you know, but it could be the cameraman's problem for that, because I don't understand the full concept of the time constraints. They look like they're getting tired too, I will say that, and that stems from they're not hitting as hard as they did in the beginning. It just looks like they're just trying to make it to the end, and you can tell based on their facial expressions, like they're trying hard when they're featured, they're trying hard when it's supposed to be really heavy, but in the in-between stuff, they're not holding it down and they don't look comfortable. I think that's what it is. Yeah, like even there, right, like when you go do do do, you can tell based on how they're hitting the head, like, oh, we're almost done. She didn't move her head, she moved her head. So it's just, there's just choices that they're making that they moved their head and they didn't. That kind of stuff will affect the cleanliness of your routine. So I just don't think I don't think this crew cleans their stuff. I just think, unless it's, you know, they have time to do it, but I don't think they spend as much time on this as they should have cleaning it. But like, so I know that I caught that. She should, I know that they wanted her to kind of be still for a second while everybody moved over. Mina was off there. Let me look here. Yeah, so you notice how like okay, so they're matching, they're mirroring each other. I wish this girl right here, before she features out, I wish she didn't just hold and then move. I wish that she actually matched what they were doing as she went over and framed these two, just to make it a little seamless and I didn't have to catch it. So whenever they're here, yeah, Mina moved her head too. I'm sorry I keep bringing that up, but some of the girls, she is tired because she's not engaging her knees like the other two girls were. You can tell they're tired. She comes out. They're not using their torso at all. That was nice. I love that. So she's hitting these locks, but it kind of looks like she's, I don't know. I'm assuming that she's trained in locking. You know, but I really don't think that it looks, this choreography does not give her training justice. You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like they put it in and it kind of looks, I'm gonna be honest, it kind of looks like she's making fun of it a little bit. Like, hey, look at my locking. But I know that's not what they're doing. It's just because of the condition or the fact that they're tired and the fact that it looks like little nuances. And because they're not justifying posture and the other styles they're representing, it makes it really difficult for me to be okay and be like, okay, this is, you know, she's a locker and she's paying nuance to it. Like, it's not translating the way that I think they wanted it to. And it's affecting, and it's gonna affect a lot. That right there, she didn't let her head go and she did. So when you're tired, you have to learn to fight through that kind of stuff. Also look at the arm positioning, so they did a good job of that. Notice that she's a little bit ahead of everybody else. She reestablished her hands, she didn't. That was your own stuff, Bruce Lee. That was a nice, I like that little moment there. And then they finish. Wave, wave, bring it down, up, and they finish. They're tired. That's a long set. Dancing for almost 2.5 minutes is hard. However, you can't let it show, especially on a show like this and you're against another crew outright and they are directly comparing you to another crew. You can't show you're tired. I think they did. So I mean, that's definitely an interesting start to the whole battle. So man, oh man. All right, let's go ahead and watch number 2. Let's watch LADYBOUNCE's take on SM.
I'm on the next level.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. I already like this one a lot more because, yeah. Yep. I'm assuming this is what they got from the other crew. Was that move? Yeah. Yeah, this is, I don't know if it was them or if it was Deep in Dop's choreo there. So that was choreo from one of the others, so I should see another thing like that. Okay, that wasn't as stable. And then... Okay. Bring it around. So it's the same mashup. Hey! That was a nice little shootout. I like the variety of levels here. Okay. Hey, hey. I like the grooves. Those are fun. Hey, but yeah, I like that. She wasn't as big there just in that moment. Okay. Okay, I'm assuming this is that's Deep in Dop's choreo that they just did. Okay. Okay. So let's go back and let's look. So I do know that I didn't say earlier, I do know that each crew takes a section of the other crew's choreo. So I'm gonna also guess, I guess I'll add this. I'm gonna guess who took whose choreo. So I think that first section where you have that little dip at the end, thank you for, there was somebody who commented on one of my previous videos that it's not a death drop, it's a dip, so thank you for that. I will try to use that verbiage moving forward. But I think that is LADYBOUNCE's choreo, and then I think the Bruce Lee, like that is Deep and Dap's choreo. That will be my guess. So we're also, I guess, comparing how they each did the sections. I like the setup a lot because notice we already have some levels going on, which I really like. So you have your mid ground, you have your lower ground, and you have your people who are still bent, but she's not near as bent as her, and that's why you have this kind of variety of level, which I really like. And they are keeping it simple, which there's nothing wrong with keeping it simple. And Deep and Dap also had a simple start too, but they're stayed simple when they could have varied it up through the different pockets of the song versus I'm on the next level. Like they still kept it very staccato. They didn't grime or they didn't feel like they were going deeper than the surface. So I like this little focal point, bringing it back up. Next level. So they did a little revert level, but they changed the hand. So they did the hand and then they did over into the fist. So that was nice. They added some really nice complexity over here that ended up triggering or puppeting my two that were in front. These are the kinds of things that I'm talking about. This is what I feel this competition, this should be the kind of standard that you should have, is this, where you're having complexity of movement. It still needs to be readable, obviously, especially if you're doing a K-pop challenge. If part of the challenge is, could a K-pop artist do this? I mean, I've already said, there's way more difficult choreography nowadays, so it is absolutely okay that they change it up, make it a little different, and make it more difficult, because that is something that is the trend for the fourth generation right now. That was nice. I kind of wish that they made a different choice with their hands because it is covering up her face, unless that's what they wanted. I like the peel outs of the fingers here, and also her hand was overshooting a little too far over compared to hers. That was nice. It has it has a bad A aesthetic about it, which matches what is this next level? Is this Aespa? I think. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I mean, they're doing a good job of creating like a really a posture that is gonna help them whenever they do the Bruce Lee in the second part of the mashup. So I will. Oh, was that a part of a cannon? Hold on. Let me see. Or a ripple. Yep, so this is unison. That was nice. Also note too, they went low, medium, a little bit higher, and highest. So they are continuing to play around with levels in different ways. So far I've seen a lot more interesting choices from their choreo than Deep and Dap's. That boom, boom, and they're pulling on the tone. I love that. That right there, I think they could have been bigger on the body rolls, especially because they're a bit further away with the camera. Boom. Yep. Oh, there was something else that I saw. I think one of them did a different arm than everybody else. Nope, everybody did the same arm. So she's going really, really low, and they're keeping it up a little bit more. I wish they made a decision on either everybody needs to go as low as her, or that she needs to lighten up and not go as low. Because when you're doing group choreo, you have to learn to compensate, or you learn to compromise how you do certain stuff. Yeah, you notice that? So she went remotely a lot lower, but that wasn't as a feature, because that was unison just there. I love that. Da-da-da, da-da-da. So it actually ended up having like a baby Harlem Shake nuance. Chick-a-da. Like that was fun. It's playful. Yep, so their arms, of course, they didn't swing them all at the same rate, but yeah, so ooh, like that's because both crews did it, but it wasn't the exact same, and they didn't. I'm assuming that may be in the actual real choreo of the song. So I'm gonna assume that. Maybe I'll react to it, and we'll see. So this is too hot. Ooh. Okay, I'm assuming this is gonna be LADYBOUNCE. What is LADYBOUNCE? Yeah, so that was nice. Yeah, because this is Vesey, right? And Vesey was demonstrating some Vogue. So I'm assuming, yeah, this is LADYBOUNCE, and that's what Deep and Dap replicated. So let me say this: whoever did this feature, she actually did a fabulous job of actually replicating that. Yeah, that was nice. Yeah. Okay, so if they're replicating even all of this here, So I think that Deep and Dot did that a little bit cleaner. Like theirs was, I mean, it had good presence, but it wasn't as clean coming down. It felt a little bit like, ooh, we caught her, you know. And look, and they did that here, so maybe they did that on purpose, Deep and Dot, because she's chilling a little bit too far out here. She needs to push back a little bit more. But then they fix it. But look, notice when they go next level, they're using their chest way more. They are using their chest a little bit more to actually make it better. I like that. Ha! With a nice little exaggerated reverb here. Okay, I'm so sorry for also not noticing this until now. So they do tell you whose choreo it is at the bottom. Man. Okay. Hey. This section, they really pop off in a good way here. They also don't look like they're tired either. I mean, we'll see at the tail end as we're watching. That was a nice shootout. That was a little breaking, threading moment right here, which is nice. And they were like, hey, so they made a low-key mini cipher. It's because they framed the two that did shootouts into the threads, and then they're still there. That was fun. Yeah, I really like that sequence a lot. And they're hitting the complexity. Looking at everybody, look at that. Like, that was a really nice breather. That's where you can you can have a really nice breather moment. That was fun. Hey. That was fun. Na. Pull. So they did throw. I think two of them did the same thing. Let me see. I think the first one, throw. Okay, so they did throw, the other one threw, the other one posed, and the other one posed. So I would rather everybody throw in their different directions, or everybody do different poses instead of having three people do one kind of sequence and then one do a pose and then one do a pose, unless the wordplay called for it, and then I think that would be fine. Straight line. Okay, this says Deep Dop's Amu Jangzak. Okay, so this is Deep and Dop's choreo. So I was pretty. So they did this the way that Deep and Dop said it, where you had somebody set up at the front. New thing. Okay, I think they had power. They definitely had some power, but do I think that it's sloppy? A little bit. Yeah, so a little bit sloppy. Like they're not adding proper groove. So there's a way you can do movement that you've been given cleanly, but also make it look like you. And that is, like I said, utilization of the torso. Okay, so okay. If this tells you anything, so my dancer right here, whenever she did that little locking section with the drop, let me see, whenever she did that W, let me see, she didn't connect with her snap. So that's step one. She's just replicating choreo. Drops down. Normally you try to connect your knees. That's a Don Campbell lock move right there, because of course he was originator. Rest in power. Don Campbell lock. This bit over, and she goes over. She didn't actually twist that hip around like you need to for that movement. This looks like she was just doing movement. But let me also tell you this. Deep and Dot, she also looked like she was just doing movement, even though that was her choreo. And I think that's where my problem lied, is that that's what it looks like. So I hope that makes a little more sense now that I actually have a dancer to compare to for that. With a fan. Ha! Yeah, that was fun. So they changed the camera angle there. I kind of wish they didn't. I kind of wanted to see everybody there. But notice they don't look tired. They don't look tired here. There wasn't a single moment in that where I was like, ooh, she is totally not keeping up with the rest of the group. I'm seeing she's starting to fall behind. They didn't demonstrate any of that to me. So okay. So I think after watching both, I think LADYBOUNCE took it. But also I know it was a popularity vote too. So I don't know who is deemed more popular. I don't know who all voted. I didn't vote. I know some of you guys did. I want to hear your thoughts. Who do you think took this? I think I've kind of already talked through my opinion or perspective on both crews. LADYBOUNCE I think just had stronger choreo. Their routine was cleaner. They made more interesting choices. They had levels. They also did their choreography better than Deep and Dot, but also they did Deep and Dot's choreo and it didn't look out of place in their groove pocket as much as Deep and Dot's did, if that makes sense. So that's gonna be my vote, and we're gonna go ahead and let's move on to the next set of the battle round. Let's do it. Okay, this challenge, Wolflow versus 1 million. So before I start this is YG track. So now I'm super aware of how this challenge works. So each part, they both have the same mix. You have Wolflow, they do their set. There's a section of choreography that is theirs that 1 million has to do, but there's also a section of 1 million's that Wolflow has to do. And so we'll be comparing and seeing. I'm gonna try my best. So I can read Korean, but it takes me a second to process what it says. So I am going to purposely not look at that little gray bar. I may see it now, so I'll kind of have an idea of where the choreographies are. But I'm actually going to look at just the comparison between the two and try to guess whose is whose. So that's what I'm gonna do. That was my little disclaimer before getting started with this bad boy. Wolflow. They had a good crew performance. I'm very curious what their K-pop influence choreo looks like. Blackpink. Ooh. So they still have that slimy groove. That's pretty complex start. Hers wasn't as big as some of her other crewmates just then. A lot of unison choreo right there. Had a little mini section there. That was a nice little, ooh, I like that moment a lot. But they're kind of demonstrating and showing their limitations on complexity of levels. Down. This choreo doesn't look like them. I will be surprised if this was their choreo. I think this is 1 million's choreo because it looks similar to what they did in their crew performance. So I'm gonna go ahead and call that. This is 1 million's. Okay. They did that really well. I like their grooves there. G-Dragon? Boom it on. Hands up. So there's a lot of unison here, and then they do movement and content to transition to their formations. This is more complex now, which I like. So, but I think that it took them a second to build up to this, and I wish that they did a little bit more complexity in the beginning, not in movement, but of formations and levels. Hey! Oh, I like this. Okay. All right, let's talk about it. Oh, I just looked here. That was Wolflow's section. Okay, but I mean, looking at 1 million section, it was so in that 1 million aesthetic. I would have been shocked if they did that anyway. So I think I made my call pretty early on that. Let's take a look at Wolflow's set. Nonetheless, I can't really compare how they did the choreo compared to 1 million because I haven't seen theirs yet at this point. The setup. So this is a more, I mean, you know, with Blackpink, I think it's interesting that they picked Blackpink. So does that mean that one crew, it's what it's sounding like right now is one crew was able to pick one song and one crew was able to pick the other song, and then they got to choreograph, and then their section was in their respective song that matched their aesthetic? Maybe let me know what the answer to that question is. I'm very curious. So that little reverb was really nice. Your area. I love the musicality that they hit, and whoa, they were like recognizing that violin. Whoa. So that was really nice. I have very few complaints about this beginning section. It was really nice. That's beautiful. But also, look, they're isolating their head to the side. She's snapping her head to the side. Little detail. They could have clarified that. And then they go, area. They'll dip and dip. So this crew, I kind of feel like that's one of their fingerprints, is having that really legato groove transition that they have. That's very full with their lunges. And I love that. So we're not going to negate the fact that they have really good musicality. We saw that. But what we've already started noticing is this section right here. They're like dun 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 dun. So they're following the words here. But also notice though their formation's not really clear. Like you have your one person here, they're a little too spaced out, they're a little too far together, they're definitely next to each other. She's a little bit too far back, she's forward, she's back. And then we have my center. So my center's fine. I just think that the setup of the formation did not help them here. Especially when you're doing unison choreo, your formation matters a lot. And to make that more diverse, like you have to learn to compensate. So if you're doing complex movement, you can get away with simpler formations. But if you're doing simpler content, not saying your groove, this groove is not easy to do. But when you're looking at the actual simplicity of complexity, right? Like it's not complex, it's simple. In the movement polyrhythmic essence of it, your formations need to be more dynamic to help compensate for that. So I'm not sitting here like, you know, this is a little too simple. So it was a nice little moment. I kind of wish that they mirrored this. Like I wish she went down to do the same thing here, but like they're having their own little moments here. Pull. So I'm gonna say, if this was like a combo in class, I'd eat this up. I love it. But it's not. It's a crew battle and they're up against another crew that's using the same mix as them, that is trying to emulate their choreography. That could have been a different moment where they had a different formation, but they chose to all stay around the same lane. So that was a nice moment where they all dropped and then she was featured front. This was nice right there, but I wish not everybody did both sides. I think it would have been really cool if everybody dropped and then one person stood up in a form of keeping the aesthetic of the knees. But I just think that there was a lot of missed opportunities in this set for them. But I do remember saying when I watched their crew performance that that was going to be something for them to be wary of, is that because their formations and their move, like choreography is more simple, they were going to struggle in these kind of things. So I would say that's a pretty big risk of them getting eliminated if most of their challenges are going to be crew related. But because this is my first exposure through the entire SWF process, I don't know. So maybe they pull out further, or they make do there. So this says 1 million's choreo. Okay, so let's look. So you notice that the posture is so different. Yeah, this does not scream Will Flow at all. This screams 1 mil, but they're doing a good job of doing it though. Especially if your crew's aesthetic is not femme. Like they're not showing that. Like they haven't demonstrated that up to this point, hence why I picked up on it so quickly. And it's pink. She did a pretty good overhead, like whacking variation. Like she did a really good job in executing that. So their execution of the technique of these things is actually really good. I'm gonna have to look and compare, but I don't know how I feel about their formation up here. I like the framing. Yeah. They're not as clean as they should be for their tuts. Whenever everybody's angled a very specific way, that's why, you know, everyone needs to make sure that they're at a proper 90, they're at a proper 90, or if you're trying to angle it more abstract, everyone has to be on the same page. That can kill a crew so fast on cleanliness if you're not looking at those details. And this is one of these crews' biggest weaknesses is, you know, all this stuff is nice and all, but also there's too many individual moments, which I was heeding caution on. Me shut you down. So overall, I do like this. I like the choreo. Does it match their aesthetic? Not 100%, but they did the best they could with that. So, I mean, I'll say kudos to them for that. Now, G-Dragon's track. I was not expecting G-Dragon to enter the chat. Now I don't know if this is an audio overlay thing or if this was an actual timing thing on their end. Yeah, I think she was too fast. She was matching the music, so let's look and actually compare. Watch these two. Yeah, they're going too fast. She was hitting it, so if you want to actually look and see like what the pocket of those movements are, I would say watch her because she actually da 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 da. So you want to make sure you don't anticipate, and that's really hard to do if you're not used to this type of high intensity thing when you know you are being directly compared to another crew. So I think that was just showing their range on their exposure into these circumstances. I think that was an adrenaline thing, not a clean thing. Yep, so I'm assuming my dancer back here matched her, so it had 3 people. Hands up, up. Like, that was a nice pocket. Yeah, so right there, so they did hit and hit, hit. They could have, once again, they could have made more variety of dynamics in these sections. It's too one-dimensional in their formations. It's too one-dimensional in their dynamics, and I think that could possibly cost them this round. That was nice. I like that. So I will say appreciate whenever you see multiple features. It's nice. You're still showcasing your crew, but also look here. She's not as far out, or she's too far out, and they're in line. So like it's these little things. So for her, she should have been a little bit in. I mean, they're sharing center here, but now it's, you know, it's still just a tad bit off. Could be a camera thing, like, you know, this angle's not really helpful. Yeah, so they're doing a lot of like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, making minor adjustments within it, but it's still here, right? There's no like 1, then we switch, and then we, you know, like there's not that kind of stuff, which is so vital for routines like this. That was a nice moment. So each dancer has really nice moments, which is nice. Bang, bang, bang. So this is Wolflow's choreography. Here we go. I want you to notice too, there's a good chance that they made this purposely like hard AF because they knew that 1 million was going to be taking it or doing it, right? So I really wish they applied this type of complexity of formations, musicality, ripples, cannons, the whole shebang, all of that. I really wish they applied what they did here to all of it, because I think that would have really made a huge difference in their set as a whole. Yep, I like the framing of the back. This is my... That was nice. I love that. Like, it just looked like an explosion of snaking. That was nice too. I love the musicality hits there. That was fun. That was a nice moment too. Slow. Yeah. This whole section I have very minor woes with. I like it a lot. But I wish this kind of mess was happening in the beginning and not here, because look, it's 2 minutes and 20 seconds in. We've already seen 1 Mill's choreo shown. I mean, they can't really, I don't think they can control like when their choreo is shown, but like they had a wonderful opportunity to set up this section so much better. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I really liked that sequence. That was my favorite sequence that they did in the whole thing. And we're going to have somebody to compare it to, which is exciting. So overall, they could have done a lot better in dynamics, levels, complexity of choreo. Their musicality was really good. Like, it was good, but I think that there wasn't enough to overcompensate for the content being simple. If this was just, like I said, if this was just a combo, there would be no problem. I wouldn't see an issue. Okay, let's take a look at 1 million. They're using clothing props. Oh, but be careful though, because you already got one person. That was a little off compared to everybody else. This was fun though. That's fun. Pretty complex, lots of options. Fun. Really matches Blackpink's aesthetic well. Yep. Yeah. That was fun setup into that. I really wish they didn't just throw it up again like they did in the very beginning. Okay. I think she went a little bit harder than they did in that very beginning of the sequence. This feels like them, you know, so, but I already know that this is them. Yeah. Yeah, fun. Keep watching me. Yeah. So I like that they used the prop to help utilize. Yeah, that really helped them here. Oh. Yeah. Whoa, that was fun pocket they hit there. Bang, bang. Okay, let's see how they do Wolflow's choreo. Let's go. Okay, they're holding okay. She didn't keep that balance as much. This, I think Wolflow did this little section better because, once again, their pocket's really difficult to replicate. Their outfits do not help them there. Yeah, so that, I would say, just that tail end was, you could tell that was not really, that felt out of pocket in comparison to some of the other stuff that you could tell was theirs. Initial thoughts, I really liked their Blackpink section a lot. I will say that Wolflow held their own during 1 Million's choreo section, but I will not say that I could agree that with 1 Million. I don't think 1 Million did Wolflow's section as well as Wolflow did. But also you have to factor in their outfits. Their outfits play a really big role here. So they have a very big Blackpink wears this type of aesthetic, but this came back to bite them whenever they were trying to do Wolflow's section in the second half because they had short sleeves on, which I think I'll talk about a little bit later. But notice how straight these ribbons are, but hers is not. It has this extra reverb. I mean, they're very fortunate this is happening in the center because if that was happening on the side, that'd be such a distraction. But just these little things, we have everybody like really dipping back from the center. She's angling more up there, so it just feels like this is not as clean as it could be, and when you have a bedazzled prop like that, it's really hard to not look at those little things. But I really like what they were going for here. The timing is wonderful. Dun, dun, dun. And so they're actually taking nuances of that violin in the back, and I do know that this is sampled from there's a song that the name escapes me, but I do remember doing research on that. They did sample that violin for this song, so they're adding a little nice classical taste, and this kind of reads like elitist, right? Like that welcome, which works in this posture. So I think my dancer here, she could have done a better job articulating or actually doing her ticks or her isolated wave a little better in her left hand. So, or maybe she went tick 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 and try to polyrhythmize it with dun da 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 da, like make it very staccato, which I think is a total pass. That setup into the folds were really nice there. I think if they both have hair, I mean, this is something that they probably could not control or even think about, but one of them, her hair is not on her, one of them, her hair is on her, so that's a super little thing. Dun da da bah! Like that was fun, you know. Having this just abstract. They have these abstract positions which really help. Now look, she's looking up, she's looking out. That little stuff that it's when you're trying to do a frame like this and she's kind of like broke her neck, right? And like that's fun. But these little things, if let's say they were up against a crew that did this exact posture and this type of choreography density, they could run into that problem of these little things would add up. So that's always my note for crews. But that was fun, you know, like just having that little groove there. It's a nice pocket break that they have, but also note too, they're having way more levels. They have way more complexity of formations that are difficult to center up and to keep the spacing right, because you have to look at that is how quick or how many dynamics they have, you know, and they master music really well. That was fun, having my floor part here and then having the back flip. Like that was really nice to have there. Yeah, I would say that dun, 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 I think that could have been isolated better, that shoulder, especially when you're having your finger do it. Your shoulder and your finger have to match the same range, and so I think that was a little bit off there. Whoa, my bad. Yeah, so she kind of like threw her hand versus actually isolated. I think if she didn't throw the hand, that would have read way better. Yeah, okay, I wish they made a different choice here because they already did it in the very, very beginning. The pull-out's fine, the pull-out's fine. It looks like hers was up and a reverb. So I think that's my only note, is that when you're making your own artistic choices, make them different than what was already set earlier. That's just little details. This was fun. I think she was a little late though. Hold on, let me look. She was delayed. They're really hitting it. I would say her charisma in this section, top notch, was awesome. And it looks like hers wasn't wrapped. Hold on, was hers wrapped? No, hers wasn't wrapped. Did she lose hers? That's a little prop thing that happened. Or hers is behind maybe? Shut it down. Shh, I like that crash. Walk. Okay, so this is their choreo. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. Shut down. She lost it. Look, there it is right there. So she did a good job playing it off, but I caught it. At least, but I had to slow it down to catch it though. So that means her professionalism, she did a great job not making it appear like she lost it. But it's hanging out back there. Rest in peace, prop. Down. This section, they did a good job. It's just, some of them are letting their head go and some of them are keeping it straight. I wish they all let their head go, especially if you're going to do a weight shift like what they did to create that illusion of them levitating or gliding across the floor. That head would have really helped create that airiness more. And she's not, I mean, she really didn't throw her hand as much as she could have, but I know she was also setting up for her feature. Hold on, let me see, did everybody do that? Miss Pink. Oh, there's a chance it's either she went too early and everybody else went at the timing, or she was supposed to be the feature and then they echoed her. Either way, black in, it's pink wants to, yeah, I think she was too fast is what it looked like, because they're not hitting definite bases to make it justify when you have a strike like that at the end of it. Pull up, you know it's a shutdown. So that section, I'm assuming all four of them needed to be the same, but they weren't. Like, so the spacing of their hands is a little off here. I think she was a little off compared to her, and they just weren't on the same page. And also, look here, when you make pauses, you can really tell. Her arms are in, everybody else's are out. And also note too, it could be a camera thing, but she's too far in or she's too far out. I'm assuming she's too far out because she there's a pocket kind of missing here. And if you're framing somebody in the center, you got to make sure all of these are equal. It looks like these are closer than these are. That's just my little note. Whip it, whip it, whip it, whip it. Yeah, that was a nice little moment there. Okay, this is interesting. I actually think Wolflow hit this last little thing better than how they hit that last little moment. It could just be because it added reverb, and I'm a sucker for reverb, so that's just my preference. Because when you hear the sound, it sounds like a door closing. Yeah, like a tsh. So for me, having something to kind of trail off or tailor off, that I think would have really helped here. They made a super smart choice of utilizing the prop and taking it off and throwing it. That was probably the best setup they could have done under the circumstances they set themselves up with. Hands up to get, and they dropped. Nice. Notice one of them threw their hands, and I think everybody else dropped their hands down and get. Oh, it was just everybody got to do their own thing there. That was fun, a little peekaboo moment. She needed to scoot in a little bit more there. This was fun. I think this is probably one of my favorite formations they did in visuals. And they, what are they doing with their hands? I'm curious about that. Oh, so they kind of flip it. So they flip it into a claw. So it turns into like a 3, 1, 2, 3, into a 3-parter. So it hits that all the way through, and it makes it look fuller there. So some people have their hand like this, some of them have the claw. That's a little detail you could have clarified. Where do you want to do the claw? Some of them even have like the claw, and then they have like the palm protruding out to do that. So if you're creating a very specific visual, like maybe if you're trying to have all of these like framed beautifully, kind of like a snake's rib cage, you know, like that kind of claw sharpness at the end of it, that would have been a freaking cool moment. Like you still see it, but it's a little bit messy right here. You kind of see what I'm saying? So that's just a little note that you can make that better. So let me go back and make sure that wasn't just a positive. That was pretty, where they go up and they go. Yeah, so I think that this moment would have been better if they corrected just their positioning of their hands. That's a nice little breath there. Yeah, so it's good. They're doing a good job of getting really low in the pocket of this song that is very different than the Blackpink song, because if they stayed up and kept really femme with it, you could run into that problem if it just doesn't match. You know, I think that was part of Wolflow's problem, was their stuff matched, but whenever you had the Blackpink choreo from 1 Million come in, it was way easier to disconnect, I think. So that's my big note for them, that I think that theirs wasn't as cohesive. This one's cohesive. They just didn't execute it as well as they could have. I love that. Don't kill. Like, that was really nice, and the eye contact's really good there. Yeah, so I like the hesitation and then the drop after that. Bang, bang. So this is Wolflow's choreo here with the jumps. So notice it doesn't look out of pocket. Like, it doesn't look like, oh, this is obviously different choreo, you know? So they're doing fine with this section here with the breakdowns. Like that. So I think Wolflow really, I mean, they did a good job on the formation setup. So they did a good job of executing it here. Yeah. And over. This part here, she lost her balance a little bit right here, so that's my note for her, is that it is tricky. This right here, it's too, they're not digging into it. Boom, boom. There's like this airiness built in, which is part of Wolflow's aesthetic and groove in general. This mess right here, they're not hitting it the way that Wolflow did, and I think Wolflow hit it the perfect way because it was their choreo, obviously, but also sometimes people's choreo don't look good on them. You'd be surprised at how many choreographers have amazing choreo, but when you see them do it, their dancers perform it better, you know, and that's kind of like the beauty of teaching people, is that the goal is for your dancers to grow and be better than you were at their age or at their part of the journey. That's always the goal as a teacher. So, but all that to say, Wolflow, the pocket that they chose to pursue with this just looks like movement, but it doesn't look out of place from what they've already set up with, like I've already said. So they're clean with it, but they just, you know, they're not, well, this part was a little messy, honestly, a little bit right there. Yeah, so some of them snake and some of them are just getting into place, you know. I will say they're starting to look a little tired here. It could either be just the fact that this is just not the pocket they are comfortable doing, or it's more so they're just tired and so they're kind of making some concessions when you really need to have certain just certain aesthetics. So notice that they're a bit hunched over more, and there's not as much of a pull of a looking up at the hand. Like, they're just using their eyes more so than their face. So that's a small thing, and I know that there's a ch, and then she slowly raised her hand. I know that was just their choice, but she was very nice and strong at it. So overall, I mean, it was strong. This was a really strong set for 1 Million. Okay, so if I'm going to pick between Wolflow or 1 Million for this particular challenge for YG, based on the songs, based on the cohesiveness of the routines, I'm going to go with 1 Mil for this one. Because, like I've already mentioned before, I would say the costuming for this, I think, worked in 1 Mil's favor more in making it work between the two. It didn't look like two separate routines. And then really what worked against Wolflow was they did not have as many interesting formations. They also didn't have as many options or visuals for me to be not distracted by, but to be captivated by, to help overcompensate for the simplicity in their choreo. 1 Million had more complex choreography, or their musicality. They were hitting more in their visuals, which really helped them in this, which is why I think out of the two, they probably came out on top. But once again, it's a popularity vote, I think, right? I don't know if the judges play a role into this, so I'm not sure, and I won't know until it gets released. So yeah, on to the next one. SWF2 and BEBE. Here we go. So this is going to be JYP. This is a JYP SWF2 from Japan. Here we go. Is this ITZY? That was a fun little setup. Okay, so this is a little different than the kind of pocket they showed in their Creep performance. Fun accent moments here. Okay, I'm seeing a gray box, but I don't know who did this part, so I'm not gonna say I know. But this could be their choreo. This may not be their choreo, but it matches whatever they did before then, so that's good. Fun. Oh, this sounds more like a TSUBAKILL track. Because it has that griminess to it, and they dance really full, so it matches their groove pocket more. This is fun. Hey, that was a nice moment. So notice their pocket changed here. This was fun. And they're doing a good job keeping pretty clean here. Ah, wow. Wow, okay. That was a little sloppy what we just saw. I don't know if it's because they're tired or it was just a situation. Okay, this is... Okay. Is this Stray Kids? I've heard the song before. Okay. I kind of wish it wasn't as much as a close-up there because I wanted to see what was going on around it. Okay. There's the first one of the JYP challenge. Let's take a look back. Overall thoughts, I would say all the crews. I'm gonna just be honest, all the crews, with the exception of Wolflow. Wolflow, their cleanliness matched their performance video the most accurate, but also my woes of that also came with it. With these other crews, however, like TSUBAKILL, I think when it comes to their cleanliness of their choreo they did in their performance, I think this one was not very clean, as it could have been with details. So let's just have a little look here. Not shy. So the little dip, that was a nice moment where they're framing, and not everybody's facing front. That's fun, you know, there's a lot of trust, and so you're having a variety and everybody's having to move subtly a different way. That's fun. So she's framing back, and then they're hitting, accenting out. That right there, name, like those heads, it was a very minor thing, but those heads were not together. And because some of them non-me and they held it, and then the others, I know they broke off. So, but I like that she held the pose. It's very unclear. Well, no, it makes sense now that they're dancing. But we have my 3 here, and then we have my 3 in the diagonal. The spacing a little bit off here compared to here, but I'm going to assume it is the camera angle because of the angle in which we're watching it right now. So it also is looking like some of these groups that they're hitting in this one in comparison to the second song of this is not as like they're up here more, but not in a because the posture calls for it, but because there's still a way you can be grounded because there's that base there where you can really utilize your hips and that bend of the knee a little bit more, and it feels like they're really not utilizing that as much. I mean, of course you have these options here. Her knee is it's either her knee is not turned in or theirs should have been turned out. I'm assuming this is the correct posture. She and the arms are all different too, so that's just a little thing. It's just, I think their details are not clean, and I think I noticed that, which is why it doesn't look as clean. And everyone's wearing the same thing, but you can pick out these details a little bit easier. Okay, before it gets to this section, I'm gonna assume, who are they against again? They're against BEBE. So I'm going to assume that they had section 2's choreo and BEBE had this section choreo. But we'll know soon. Wet, that was a nice little moment there. That was nice. I like the fact that they said something going on. TSUBAKILL man. Oh, so this is their choreo. Okay, look at that. That shows their diversity. That is mad impressive. Because they didn't have this kind of, this isn't their like kind of posture that they had in their crew. BEBE actually did a little bit more. So that caught me off guard. So that is surprising in a great way to see. Fun. But then they went into an isolated wave. That was a really nice progression into that boom. Fun. Okay. Name, like not shy. Name. So it's just the grooves are fun, but for this type of choreo or aesthetic that you want to go for, they just need to like just look. This little stuff matters. Like you have about 3 or 4 of them that are doing the same thing, but then you have some of them that are either a little too far back in the formation, and that affects the cleanliness. And then you also look at the hand placement, and some of them they're tucked behind, and some of them they're flat. So and some of them are overshooting the head back in a posture, and some of them are staying staccato. Some people's shoulders are too high, and it shouldn't be because I paused it like, oh, you just paused it wrong. It's not that. Like that kind of stuff wouldn't be showing up if I paused it, because that's a picture moment. That's what we call it. Where I could snap a photo. If that was a photo, that would be, were they clean there? No. This section's not really as clean as they could be, especially if it's their choreo. I mean, that makes me a little sad that it's not as clean as it could be, especially if it's yours that you're representing. But this is a very different wheelhouse of content for them, which I really like. It shows their versatility as a group. And I will say, out of everybody so far, that was the most diverse switch of their technique compared to the other groups when they would do their style. So that was really nice there. Fun. Yeah, that was nice. I love that where they had the swing of the arm, and then there was a frame, like she responded to it with her body, and then everybody else responded to it with their, I think it was their chest, right? Let me look. Yeah, and they just reset. That was a nice moment. They're doing a good job with the layers. I don't know if she was pulled back. Let me look. Was she pulled back? No, she just melted back, but that was so smooth. Kudos to that. Yeah. Boom. Yeah, so here I kind of wish that it wasn't so dark in the colors. I wish there was the spotlight reached over here, but I mean, I like it to a certain extent, but that can work against you on cleanliness or your range. Or I can help me point out something else that's happening. Okay, so they're all looking in different ways. I do like that. So they're both looking the same way, they're both looking the same way, and they're both looking the same way. So that was nice. I like that. Hey, that was nice. So their pocket here is actually really good. Like that was fun. The broken out, that was good. So they did the 1 and then the 2 people and then the 3, and this was baller move here. I wish they did more of the hands there. That was fun. 3, 4. Okay, that right there reminded me of 82 for BTBT, whenever they had like people responding in different ways. I know that's probably not the inspiration for it, but I have seen something very similar to that before. I really wish it was more clear how she was kicking and how she was hitting, because it would make the reactions or the responses a little bit more readable, right? Right, so notice how it's just kind of like she didn't fully extend her kick out to the side, which is probably why it didn't read as well, or it didn't look as full there. Boom. Groove. Oh, that wasn't a good moment, I think, because I think she was really late there, where it was very noticeable. Yeah. And it's just, I think these two right here were a little bit behind that whole little bit right there. And also you can tell too if people are comfortable with a type of choreo based on like their head, you know, if their head is able to go in a particular pattern or way, that shows that they have a sense of they're comfortable because they're not like staring at a mirror. That's another thing too. If you didn't know this, a lot of times you can base the difficulty or somebody's fluency in a particular concept, choreography, or freestyle is based on where they're looking. So if you notice that they're looking front the whole time, that is a psychological thing that happens, and it's a muscle memory thing that happens whenever you are in front of a mirror for a long time. But whenever you're not really looking and you're actually going off of feeling and not having to glue yourself in front of a mirror, that shows a sense of maturity in your movement. So that's a fun little fact. If you had some trouble looking more natural in your choreography that you're learning either from K-pop or just in general, or when you are choreographing and it's not looking as clean as you want it to be, that's something that you can try, is to go off of the feeling and purposely not look front, or actually be aware of that. But I'm noticing some of them are gluing their head forward and some of them are not. But like this moment's nice. That was fun. So it says, BEBE 아무 장착 구간. So this is BEBE's choreo. Yeah. They did a great job of integrating what they did before into this, so it didn't look like somebody's, like, here's the thing, the fact is I got it wrong. I didn't know who choreographed which is awesome. Okay, I don't know what happened there. Let me see what happened here. Okay, so I don't know if everybody was supposed to do the same thing. She really twisted her leg out. She didn't there. The marches, Brainiac. Okay, I think they were nice to them here, unless BEBE's choreo also zoomed in this much. I wish they didn't do that, especially if it's a comparison of choreo challenge like this. They should have left it a wider frame, because I can't really tell how they did this choreo 100% of the way, because half of them are out of frame when they're transitioning around, and I can't even see one of them doing it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a tad bit disappointed at the camera work for that section. Okay, it looks like we have my two here, my two here, my two here. They are more forward, so I don't know. We'll verify whenever we watch BEBE, but I don't know if they all need to be on the same line or if they are too far forward. I don't know. Brainiac. So that's fun to have that kind of a shirt play. So I don't know if they ended up doing more shirtography because of the shirt prop, and if they did because of this choreo, huge kudos to them for that as well. It did look like my dancer back here, it looked like she marked it a little bit near the end. I don't know though. Yeah, right there. Yeah, she didn't hit it as strong at the end. Like, if that's the last move that you're gonna do, you gotta really use that back to hit it. Let me see how everybody did it. Brainiac. Yeah, it just looked like some of them are just like, I love the turnaround there of the head. So, but whenever you hit, using the back is gonna make your body invest more into the actual hit, and it's gonna look stronger. So that's just a nice little thing to kind of keep in mind. I wish they did that. It just looked like they were hitting, but also no, they were dancing for 2 minutes, which is a lot. I mean, these dances are exhausting. So that is something that is important to look at, though, is you shouldn't look tired. I would say maybe 1 or 2 of them looked a little tired near that end, but not everybody did. So that is progress for sure. Okay, let's go ahead and look at BEBE. Okay. Okay. So they went with the color palette, but everybody's subtly different, which can help you when you're doing multiple styles. Fun. A little bit, I mean, they're doing similar stuff that they did in their crew performance, like formation, so I would say they need to be a little bit careful of that. I like the peel-offs, those are fun. Okay, here we go. TSUBAKILL's choreo. Ooh! Yeah. They have really good presence and power into these moves, which actually really helps them with this not being their choreo. And also, it doesn't look like it's out of place either, which is great. That transition was nice. Fun. Woo, okay. I love the presence she had. She wasn't moving, but she was like maintaining presence. Hey. That was fun to actually repeat the choreo with the formation people adding on. That was a very K-pop influence thing. That was fun. Ooh, the little... That was fun. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so know how they're hitting that. Yeah. Okay. That was stable. That was stable finish. You see how they hold on at the end of this. Yeah, look. See, that was a formation thing on TSUBAKILL. Wow. Okay. Very charismatic there. Wow. Okay. Let's go back. I will say, let's go ahead and compare. Let me go ahead and think through the two groups' choreos. Both of them had, both of them it was varied. It was different than what they had shown in their crew preview, which I think is great, because I think that's part of the show aesthetic too, is I really want it to look and appear like they have a variety of style, not just this is our niche and we're the best at it and you're not going to tell us different. Like, I love seeing growth from dancers, and I love seeing growth from choreographers, and I think this is a really good show that kind of puts you in those opportunities to grow, and I think that's why I like these types of shows, for at least that aspect of it. So let's look. The setup was nice. Numbers. So that was pretty communal. That was fun. Itzy. They kind of had like they did the pull of the tone. I don't know if that's an itzy like sign thing. There they did a little tick tick to come up. I've seen that a couple times. So it goes dip and dip. So a lot of times you add a plie or you add a bend in the leg and you over and you rotate that hip. That's what creates that little divot. That's an exaggerated walk, which is fun. I think they were a little too far apart there. Let me check. Yeah, look. So look, there we go. And she corrected it. Look at that. Look at that. So they were too close at the very beginning, and then she spread out, and then she ended up, no, she was a little bit too close there because she corrected it. But hey, kudos to her for catching that. That was fun. I think she was a little bit too stiff in the shoulders whenever she did the second half of that build up, but I like the choice. That was fun. I kind of wish they went a little bit lower because that beat in the back hits a little bit lower too. Let's hear it. Yeah, I think their posture is a little bit too high for that, especially if you're gonna do a groove like that. I see it a lot in oh my goodness, I would say since you know Kirsten is on the show, I'll just use Royal Family as an example. A lot of times you see that's just kind of, I don't know if it's Afro or dance hall, I'm not sure. It could be neither, forgive me, but having that kind of posture, you want to have extra legato or an extra griminess in that chest just to make that match. And there's a base there that they could be hitting that they're not hitting as well as they could. So that's my little note for this section. That was fun. So she is not digging as deep as some of her counterparts, so that would be my note for her specifically, is to really utilize her legs more and utilize her chest, especially if you're my center. That's important. But her performance and presence is good. So they had some really nice choices. Like, that's fun. So they're doing a good job of measuring, like going through the tone of these, which is fun. I would say that you just be careful to not do it too much, especially when there's so many other things going on in the music, as well as, that was fun. Wait, she framed it well. That was fun. With the split, down, good. She, like, I will say, okay, so she's been in the front a lot. So that's just, I think that's why she's catching my attention more. She's also wearing a gray top, and everybody else, I mean, she's wearing like a sheerish with gray, but hers is like a gray top underneath a white top, so I can notice her a little bit more. My note, she's not isolating through that wave as well as some of the other people are, so well, they go here, they skip the elbow, and then they go straight to the shoulder, doon, like doon. I don't know if that was the actual SWF2's choice in the choreo. Let's just assume so, because everybody did. But for me, when you're gonna do an isolated wave like that, you can't skip joints. I personally I just don't think it works as well visually when you make that choice to skip the elbow when you're dealing with a joint isolated wave. Like, it needs to make sense. So if that was a SWF2 choreography thing, that's something they should have looked at, or they should have made it, or they should have started the wave a little bit sooner. For them, if it was an execution thing, they should have been mindful about executing each joint or recognizing that there needs to be a pattern that is clear. I like that, powerful, and then they go out. Okay, everybody did it. I'm just gonna assume it may have been a choreography thing. So that was power, like not everybody matched that kind of level of energy. I know she didn't in comparison to her. Yep. So they did the best they could with that. They probably were like, who are my three? Who can try to hold that as best they can? Because imagine, I don't know if Bada, I think Bada got lucky, because I don't know Bada's flexibility, but there's nothing in her groove pocket that suggests that she has that over flexibility, because she doesn't demonstrate it in any of her choreography. So I'm going to assume that they were probably, for this, they put themselves in a formation based on who could do that move specifically, because that's a tricky move to do. It really is. That could have been cleaner. Like, if you're at least close the fingers. Yeah, like actually go ta-ta-ta and then wave through. But I know it's fast, so you could run into that. And also, no, I have no idea what the turnaround for this was. I'm assuming it was really fast. So they probably had to sacrifice a lot of detail cleaning, just like a lot of other crews that I've noticed. Like I've said across the board, these crews are not as clean as they were in their performances, but that probably meant they had way more time in their performance previews than they did for this. And so that's going to be something that I hope to see progress in, is the cleanliness of their aesthetic. Yeah, so it looks like they're cutting off movement, like they're not letting go of their chest as much, and that's one indicator when you know that they're just trying to make it through, they're trying to do the choreo, is when you add this kind of stuff, it kind of senses a sense of fluency. That's just a little thing in the posture. Some of them are dipping and letting go a little bit more. I think SWF2 had the same problem, where not everybody was hitting the same way. She's definitely not dipping as low as they are, but I think they are cleaner in actually everybody doing the same thing, because my front girl, I think it's the leader, right? SWF2, her arms were completely flipped, so they weren't even the same arms in comparison to everybody else. Yeah, so I would say they did a good job. Context of the choreo that they set up for this, and then what they did after looked great. Not me. So one of them flipped up and the others flipped out. I don't know if that was a choreo choice or what. The kick. This was seamless in the transition. I don't know if I realized how they finished this. I don't know if they had the choice of finishing this. It doesn't look familiar, but that was a really nice transition. Like, they immediately started moving.
Let's go.
I'm gonna say this too. Their lighting really helped them for that moment. That looked really cool. There.
Let's go.
Let's go. So her arm wasn't as high as hers. Let's look at that.
Let's go.
Like, yeah, they're melting up those arms, and hers just was kind of stuck there. And then, but they had a little artistic moment after that. So I've noticed they've been doing a lot of these results. They did that in the performance, in their crew preview, and I really liked it when I did it then. I'm gonna heed caution here though. I'm starting to see it pop up in their other choreographies, which you gotta be careful to not over replicate or over plagiarize yourself. It's not really, it's not really plagiarizing whenever it's you who made the sequence, but if somebody didn't know any better, like I call it self-plagiarizing. It's just not, they could have made a different choice in how they chose to hit that. They did a different groove out of it, but it's still something that I recognize enough that they should just be wary of in the future. Because it is fun and it matches the music, but that doesn't mean that you should always put it there, especially if at least on the same program. Don't put it in similar spots. I like the peel off where they have my 2 and then my 3 and then my 2. This is a nice moment. Normally I'm like, I'll try not to repeat choreo, but this was a really fun setup for that. That was good and it matched the music well. Yeah, she has wonderful charisma here and everyone's like, oh yeah. That could have been boom, boom, that could have been bigger. Fun. This took a different turn than I was expecting them to do. And then they peel in towards each other. And they melt. I like the there. I actually like how both crews interpreted it. That was awesome. But having that here was definitely, that was really nice to see. The groovy groove. That was fun. The little vomit moment was fun. Match the music. And then they grab it with their mouth. Wow. GG. Like, that was a really cool sequence to do. Some but also know with the cleanliness, some people are overshooting and some people actually don't finish out the groove. I don't think Bada finished out her groove there. That's fun. Yep. I love that. That was fun there. That was fun. The little she took a different approach. It just looks more, and I wonder if it's supposed to match like the Maniac, like I wonder if they did it on purpose. Okay, so look at this. Do you see their reverb? Boom. That is here. That's what I was expecting this choreo to look like. And then Suba, I don't know if they just stomped or like they stepped, but I didn't notice like everybody doing the same type of reverb. This is a really good example of cleanliness in the pocket that you want. I think this was a brilliant example of that. Boom. So you just hit the all reverb the same amount of times, and that's not, sometimes it's just when you're familiar enough with each other's grooves, that's just what you get, but that was brilliant. I love that. That was a nice little yeah. Yeah. Hey. Now that like boom, 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 boom. I think some of them were trying to, it could be a camera thing, but I really needed to see that because I was seeing some people just marked and they come up. It's either they were supposed to kind of isolate it or they didn't isolate it. I would recommend doing that because just having that little pocket would have matched really well with the tone. Is this Felix? Okay, look, so notice that they didn't zoom in as much on them as I did with SWF2. So I'm actually able to at least see these three do it. And they go into a wide frame versus getting closer. So I really, that was not the move for Mnet to do the camera work like that on SWF2. I think it really took away from the choreography that we were trying to compare them to doing. This is, so I remember what I said about SWF2, and their group that was over here was way far forward, and these groups, they were actually back, and they are on the side. So these two are supposed to be next to each other. In SWF2, they were too far forward. So that would have been they didn't follow directions, if that makes sense, or that was probably, you know, they only maybe had one shot to do it, and that's just what happened. Maniac. And so with the t-shirt, so they actually did a good job nuancing both times. I was very curious how they were if they were gonna use their t-shirt outside of the choreography that we saw on SWF2, because we saw SWF2 do it where they flipped it up, but they did a good job of like grabbing it over, and it was different than what I was expecting. So that was really nice. I liked it. Yeah. Okay. So that was actually a really good run from them. If I were to pick between the two, they both, I would say they're the closest right now. Like, it's not an easy, like, okay, none of them were an easy win, but I will say it was easier for me to see who is probably going to come out. I would say both of them could take it potentially, because I don't think one group is obviously more popular than the other, but also because I haven't been in this realm where like I haven't known of these groups until this season. That could just be a me thing. I will say though, I think based on who did whose choreo the best, not the best, the most accurate, how they tailored it to their set, the costume choices, the formations, I'm gonna have to give it to BEBE. But I will say SWF2 really held their own, and that was a very competitive battle in comparison to the ones that I've seen before. Like, there wasn't anything obvious like, oh, there's a really high chance this group will win. If either win, I think it would be fine, but my vote, if I were voting, I would vote for BEBE. But I like SWF2's moments too. All right, we're gonna get into the last one, the last battle. Hybe, let's do it.
더 뛰어난 크루에게 투표해주세요.
MANNEQUEEN! First up, out of the two, this is Hybe. Here we go. Oh, I can tell. This is gonna be nice setup. Wow, okay. This is really helpful for them. I like the song. Okay. Little tiny little detail things I'm seeing here that could use some work. I mean, she could have been placed a little bit different there just to make that a little bit nicer. I wish they were in the window, but I mean, that's just really minor preferences for me though. Okay, this is, okay. This feels like Jam Republic's aesthetic because of a lot of the hippography they were doing. Okay, and they would make different choices, I think, to this song based on what we saw, but it matches really well. Okay, we could have hit that a little bit better, I think. Okay, these are so different pockets. Oh, I can't wait to see what they're doing here. Wow, they're holding it down really well. Oh man, they are a little simple though in how they're choosing to do stuff, but I was really worried that they would just not work. Oh, this is MANNEQUEEN through and through. Did you see that whacking sequence? Oh! Wow! Not a hair. Shut up. Shut up. Wow! Oh my god. They did not come to play with Jam. Oh man. Okay, so I think it's pretty safe to say the first song was Jam Republic's choreo they had to do, and then this one, yeah, it says MANNEQUEEN. Wow, I think they set the other group up with the hardest content to replicate in comparison to every other crew. That mess looks hard. They even had a hat gimmick in there. Oh, that makes me so intrigued on how Jam Republic does that section. Man, okay, I can see why, because some of you recommended this battle in particular between MANNEQUEEN and Jam Republic, and now I see why. This is already, man. Let's talk through it. Okay, I would say they were pretty clean. Which they, you know, I'd say this first song, this sounded so like them, you know, so it actually surprised me that they wouldn't be the one to do this song. I like the framing that they did there. Their angles are really nice, but I kind of am, it's kind of an expectation, which maybe may not be fair by me analyzing this, is that I shouldn't really project an expectation on them. So I'm gonna, okay. So an expectation shouldn't be a verification as to what they're doing. So whenever they do those 2 ticks over, they could have been a little cleaner. Oh, I missed it. Hold on. Going back. Yeah, so some of them use their head and then some of them use their body. So for me, whenever you're going to do like a strobe sequence or like 2 dime stops or 2 ticks, it is important that the first one matches the second. And if you have everybody doing it, regardless of how difficult your pose is, it needs to all look the same. So that's just my note there. That was nice. Best dressed. And also their outfit is so like bad A, you know what I mean? And it's actually a little different than what I would expect from them for this. Press, that was fun. So I noticed with her, Yoonji, like she's always demonstrated really fierce and strong overheads and strong wax and a really strong posture. I would just recommend for her, if any of these people actually genuinely cared about what I had to say, which I don't really know any of them in the circuit, but our circles overlap to some degree. So there is a chance in my career and in their career that we may cross paths in some way, but it's not a guarantee, which is totally fine. But if I was in a position where they actually were receptive to any feedback, or that I was actually able to help or suggest anything, would be for her to kind of figure out a different way to use her power outside of just her typical pull and tug whenever she hits stuff, because it is so powerful. But when you dance in a group, it can actually turn into a bit more of a distraction if you're not careful. It's not big enough to where it's a big enough distraction, but it is something that I would take note of. Yeah, their wax are like, I called it. They are definitely probably the top of the list when it comes to the complexity of their whacking. But you have 2 world-class whackers on your group, at least. So I would say I wish they made a different choice with the arms. When they did they're doing a nice little, they're doing a walk, I'd say a vogue. There is a particular name for it. So if you know the actual name of this style of walking in vogue, please let me know. I do see it more in vogue than in other styles, but it doesn't mean it is not in other styles. So please correct me if I'm wrong. But that pose right there, she was a little bit too fast. Because remember, picture moments matter. She's a little too fast. They are all holding a position. Some of them are looking forward, some are looking to the side. I'm assuming she is wrong. She should be looking to the side, but she's looking down. Also, her angle looks really nice, but some of them, it's a little overshooting in the angle, so that would just be heeding my caution. It could be a camera thing, but I think the gap's a little too big here and a little too, because you can also look at the range between the feet. I think she's too far back, but everybody else lined up pretty well, and I'd say because she's featured, she can get away with being a little bit separated from them. Yeah, and even the switches there, it could have been a little cleaner. And I think it comes from your head. Yeah, it's because she was too fast. That's why they didn't look clean. And she's in the dark, which may have worked for them because I don't think she hit it the same way that they did just then. Yeah, she has extra hands that she likes to add. Like she's overshooting right here, but because she's in the dark, it's a little bit harder to see. Yeah, okay, so this is just, I think I vocalized more of my preference for this. So they're hitting, like you have my 3 back here and my 2 right here. Because they're actually curving the formation, it's either she's too far back or they're supposed to be 2 lines because she's too far forward, which means that they could have gotten away with making a circle, which means she should have pushed up a little bit further if they were going to do that. She should have centered up a little bit more. That would have been a more appropriate formation for this. But I also know because they're going into the 2 straight lines, it makes sense why they kind of kept it this way. But, and just my little note for that. But then they straightened it up, you know, they straightened it up here and they did the 3. That wasn't as clean. Not all of their legs were where they needed to be, and she's also late coming up as well. Yeah, so all these groups have some cleaning issues. 3, 4, 5. She was who's that? Is it Yoonji? me see. Okay, so it could be a timing thing. I would say Yoonji actually has really good timing because I could tell exactly where those movements are supposed to hit, and other people are just slightly ahead. I think Wolflo had that problem. Yeah, so it's like chain, like there's no pool of energy, and so your timing's gonna be ever so slightly off compared to somebody who's gonna have that pool of energy. She didn't connect the ending of her tie. I caught that. Hold on. Let's look. I think you're supposed to over hit, chain, and then we come up, and then we fold it over. So like, look, she's already peeling it back, and then they peel it back, but she disconnected and then she reconnected to finish the slot. So that'd be my note for her. She got lucky because there's somebody in front of her, so it was hard to catch in real time. So like that boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna tell you right now, there's a really good chance it wasn't supposed to be that high up. Or there's supposed to be a way heavier hip nuance here, but that just looked like a transition step. They do not look comfortable doing this. But they're trying their best here. That was nice. That's hard to do that. They're doing a good job trying their best here. Like this part looks better than that very beginning. Yeah, walks. They're doing a good job with this sequence here. Yeah, she was a little too far out though, or she's too far in. It's one of those two. So she actually hit it. Boom, boom, boom. Everybody else just did the arms, and it does look more static when you do that, which is not going to make it look as clean. This is Jam Republic's choreo, so I'm curious how they hit it. I wonder if they go too hard and where it also promotes uncleanliness. I don't want to project, but that would be their thing if they had a problem with that. That boom, boom, boom. They're just like picking up the foot versus actually like leaning into it. That creates that femme like arch in the back. Boom, 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 you know? Just like whenever you're like putting your hips in the back, like having that boom, boom, boom. And I think that would have helped that groove right there. Yeah, this girl especially did not do anything with her hips there. She did the arms. Yeah, that was they did okay. They did as best as they could with that. I would say that very beginning and the very end, so like the cookie part of an Oreo, right? The middle, they did a good job on. I would say that meshed really well. But those bookends right there, I think they struggled on their grooves. But Jam Republic has been known for really interesting grooves, or their grooves have more Afrocentric, Afro influence, dancehall influence. So, and when your crew, that's not their niche at all. Like they don't do that as often as Jam does, so it makes sense why it may look a little out of pocket in comparison to the other stuff that they set it up with. But it didn't look out of place, which is very impressive, because you see that the energy or what the expectation of the body was different. It didn't look like, oh, that's Jam Republic's, right? I mean, it did eventually, but at least in the beginning part, it was a toss-up between the two. Then it goes into BTS. I am very surprised. They're probably my most surprising group when it comes to actually, they looked like they looked well doing this groove aesthetic here. Like they held it down. I would say they made some interesting whacking choices that I wouldn't have made. You know, I would have made them. There were some that were great. What? They're holding it, which is good. And that right there, I wouldn't have done enemy. Like I would have, I think I would have done, or maybe they should have gone lower. I think that just the overheads there are enemy. I mean, they're hitting that enemy, but I think they could have been more creative with it outside of just hitting it like that, because it wasn't clean. I think that's why. I think if it was clean, I would have liked it more. Yo. Energy. That right there, I said when I'm the initial reaction, that's way too simple. They should have done something a little different. At least peel it out. Energy, or enemy, right? Yeah, everybody doing the same thing for 4 counts like that. It's different than what I said with BEBE. They did like a whole sequence, and then it move, hey. Like it wasn't the same exact move for 4 to 6 counts, you know? Can I get a little bit of hope? I wish that was cleaner, because that would have been really nice. They were not matching the same energy that she was hitting there. Oh, they murdered, like, I think they gave the hardest. Like I said, I cannot believe how difficult this sequence is. I'm very much looking forward to seeing Jam try this. This is hard, so polyrhythmic. It's harder than their crew preview, I think. Yeah, I think she could have gotten a little lower, done something a little different, you know. Oh my gosh. Drop it. Hey. That's possible to do compared to some of those polyrhythmic whacking sequences that they did. Bless it. They did the challenge well. They said, we're gonna give you our hardest stuff. That was cute. That was cute. That's hard stuff. I kind of wish that, I think like the upper body looked great. I think she kind of held it a little too statically in the lower half. I wish she kind of like moved around with it. Like a like at least like created a different visual outside of just kind of standing there. You know what I mean? But here's the thing though, like that's not even a big deal. That still looked great. That's a nice little moment. But that right there, I think because they were doing an add-on, if she was gonna go boom, boom, they could have added a different dynamic here. If everybody was gonna join in, it shouldn't look the same. Or I know they're trying to make it look bigger. Like dun dun dun. They should have done something different or dropped the level in order to not make it look so simple. Because there's a difference between simple with purpose in the context of it's clean and their visuals. Like you got to balance your visuals and formations and dynamics with the content. You have to balance it, and I think that was just a slight imbalance there. Just this section is just not. But once again, I don't think this is their music choice that they would have picked personally, or maybe they did pick it on purpose. I don't know. But they're really doing a good job of holding their own on it here, and that's how they finish. Boy howdy, they also didn't look tired at all. I think maybe like once or twice I had some of my girls look a little bit tired, but that was brutal. Just that ending sequence, and that's near the end too. Man, okay. Let's go ahead and watch Jam Republic. Let's see what they did.
Global domination. Jam Republic.
Okay. Oh. Huh. Wow, okay. I like that. That was really nice. I would say their tuts are a little bit, I wish they were more complex, but I really like their choices they're making. Ah, their charisma's no joke. Woo! Wow. Yeah. Oh, they also didn't use as much of that dig as they could have. Okay. Yeah. Oh! Wow. Yeah. Wow. Okay, let's see what they do with this one. Oh, that was a cool moment from Audrey. That was a little sloppy there. That was fun. Okay. Okay, nice little feature. Okay. Oh, okay. So they didn't technically hit the prop there. But I would say performance quality. Oh, she nailed that little mess right there. Oh, wow. Okay. This is going to be a toss-up. This is going to be a genuine toss-up. But we're going to talk through Jam Republic's first before I may talk about what my toss-up is while I talk about it. Okay. So the setup, I think it's different than what MANNEQUEEN did. I have a feeling though that maybe this kind of doll-esque aesthetic is paying inspiration to whoever sings this. I can't think off the top of my head who the artist is. I don't even want to attempt to guess the wrong group because that's how unsure I am. But I'm assuming this kind of texture because MANNEQUEEN also did that kind of mannequin-esque options, which makes sense why they put it in their set. Mess. Yeah, so I like that little boom boom, that mess. You know, this is pretty clean in how they're holding this. This was, I love this, where they, instead of typically having like one person in the center and then it peels out, we started with 2 people, and then we have our 2, and then my center joins last. That was very different than I was expecting. Like, you don't see that kind of sequence often. Wow. Yeah, say yes, yeah. I love this. Yeah, so I would say, I think, well, let me go back. There's a chance that I think she's a little too close. Yeah, just this lower half here, one of them was a little too close than the other. But I mean, they probably had to do that because of their arm length, because this is centered. This is pretty centered here. This was nice. Performance quality, like, they are probably one of the most charismatic groups out of everybody. So, like, their performance quality really helps them in a lot of the sequences that you're seeing. I will say there's just a tad bit, some stuff's a little too simple, but I'll let you as we encounter them. I don't know if she was trying to I don't know if she was trying to make that leg tick. It was either that or she was trying to make it, because she started up that way. Yeah. That was nice little framing there, which is fun. Yeah. Chain there, which is fun. Okay, so I was expecting this to pop off more than it did. I honestly think that MANNEQUEEN and Jam did this similarly, and I wasn't expecting that. I just thought that MANNEQUEEN didn't use their, at least on the front end of this, they didn't use the griminess or that pull of this groove. But it also looks that they didn't either, so maybe that was a choreography choice. Kirsten didn't go as high on her legs. Let's look at that. So we're here. She kept it about level, but everybody else shooted it up to the upper diagonal. That little detail could matter. This is a genuine toss-up, so even something as small as that could be what makes a difference. Boom. What was that formation like? Once again though, I really like the fact that all of them are in different, they're in pink, but they're all slightly different. I prefer that concept. I think this is just a tad bit off. She's too far in a little bit. Because, and you can really tell in the contrast. I really like the colors here. She's truly mixed in the colors. Yeah, that boom. I really wish there was more like a hesitation between those. Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. So I don't know if they went boom, boom, like to place, or go boom, boom, boom. Like, I don't know the 3. She hit 2 soft ones. I think other people hit the 3, and that matters. So she got to her spot. Audrey did. She did boom, boom, and then she like kind of held it. She did 2 soft ones. Yeah, so that kind of stuff, I kind of wish that everybody was on the same page, even if you're already in your spot, to everybody still go boom, boom, boom if you're going to hit that. I'm assuming that's what that transition was supposed to be, and I already saw 2 girls not do the same thing, and it wasn't even the triple. So I think that was just very unclear, and that right there, you end up having those subtle discrepancies in the bounce, and that's what makes that not look clean. Walk, though, disgusting. This is oh my god. Love that. Bit of like, boom. I mean, come on. She grabs her pant and go boom, boom. Like, that is grimy. Like, I was expecting this for that beginning part of the Jam's choreo. Boom. Like, that is filthy right there. This is clean. This is nice. Pretty stacked here. Yeah, so it's like boom, boom, boom. But notice that they're using their hip to help with that posture. I know they're trying to keep that Barbie-esque aesthetic, but that right there, boom, boom, boom. That was what it was supposed to look like, was this. And MANNEQUEEN, not everybody did that. I would say my center person, Redleek, I think she did it, but I don't think anybody else like hit it to that degree. But they all did as a group, and that's a big thing. That ending pose, they ended like a little, like they just kind of ended like that. With the splits. That was fun. Okay, Audrey does this really... I love that. That was awesome. I love that pull right there. I'm so glad I caught it the first time. The build-up's great here. 2, 3, let's go. Oh, hold on. What happened there? something in a pattern. I don't know if it's an add-on or what. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so they went 1, 2, hit, hit. These two did. They didn't. Now I gotta see what the actual formation was supposed to be. Okay, so we have 3 of them going 1, 2, hit, hit, but these two are next to each other doing the same thing. Shouldn't it be in every other? So I guess that's my note, is I guess it's either they're in the wrong spots or they should have done the different choreos. Like, yeah, there was a disconnect there. Audrey also, I don't think went as big there. Hold on, let me see. Oh no, that's fine. With the way, oh, that was fun. Energy, energy, energy. So some of them are picking up the foot and some of them are kind of staying in place and rotating, or they're twisting there, that kind of stuff. If you're gonna do a 4-part group, just like what MANNEQUEEN did, they did the hair flips 4 times, and I kind of got onto that a little bit, saying that was a little too simple. That right there, that groove, they were doing the same groove, but it was more polyrhythmic because you're utilizing the hip. Upper body was engaged. It wasn't just one thing moving, it was multiple things, but I will say it wasn't clean. That wasn't really a clean moment for them. Some of them are like really twisting the foot and some of them are keeping it really chill. So I think that could have been something they could have cleaned. Some of them are overusing the chest and some of them are not using the chest and the shoulder. Yeah, so this, I think this is a pretty messy section from them. She's doing, Audrey really is captivating when she helps in features or when she is a feature. Like, she is so easy to be drawn to her, which is a really good thing for them to have, is to have that. And she, I think she's probably one of my favorite movers in the entire show. We haven't seen her freestyle yet, like at least on the show. I really hope that we get to see that because I love her movement quality so much, and I loved her in the crew performance as well. I also love her Alpha too. Okay, did they nail this? Oh, that was not. I was kind of yeah, that wasn't really it for me. I think just kind of they were just trying to hit it. I mean, they got the hit, like that got that, but I mean, I would say that whacking sequence was pretty rough. Like, they're not hitting at the same time. Yeah, they were not hitting that. This setup, yeah, they're not holding their balances there either. Her charisma is fabulous. Like, this right here, I think is what saved this to a certain extent. It's just her locking down the performance quality that helps you overlook other things. Okay, she misses the hat, or she goes up. She missed the hat, technically. She caught that tail end of it, but it was also like she started and then she landed versus starting and sliding. So she was smart. She actually used her upper body to overcompensate for this move. So I will say, wasn't there somebody else in the crew that did like a full split? I really wonder if she should have, I think it was her. I really wonder if they should have had her do that section that Kirsten just did. Because Kirsten, that, I'm going to consider, like, honestly, I would consider that a fail in the actual propography. I mean, they barely did it. Like, that was like the most barely pass you could have in if you're trying to replicate something. And that is, I think, they're probably a little disappointed in that. I'm going to be honest. I think they have a feeling that they agree with that too. That right here, like, she goes nothing, and they're like, ah, ah, ah. So here's the thing. The other girls, MANNEQUEEN, they didn't use like the pop of the hips as much. They used the switch, and so it's a different texture. So were they doing them? Like, they made it them. So I kind of think it's pass. I think they get a pass for that. The other, because MANNEQUEEN, they made some of the things themselves too, but like, yeah, they put them through the ringer here. She, I think, faced the back a little bit too much on that arm swing. Yeah, do you notice that? So she's facing that back corner versus facing the straight side. So you see the opposition of the chest. Yeah. This part, honestly, they nailed this part better than MANNEQUEEN did because it's subtle. Like, you saw the true subtlety. But she kept it subtle when everybody else kind of popped off a little bit. So I wonder if she kept it subtle. Everybody else went big. I kind of wish she went bigger too. But I wonder if they were like truly replicating each individual person that they were like doing versus what the group was going for. I wonder if that's the approach they took. So she hit her hair a little bit there, and you can kind of tell that kind of threw off the flow. Yeah, so she kind of like hit back, and then she kind of hit the back of her hair. She really went for it in the back though. And they finished. Okay. So, out of the two, MANNEQUEEN and Jam Republic, my guess, I think MANNEQUEEN took it. Because, here's the thing. Is it a potential toss-up? Maybe, but I will say, I think the biggest thing that happened to Jam this time is they got they got put through the ringer on MANNEQUEEN's choreo. I really think if they had any other group's choreo, they could have potentially, just in their charisma and their performance, because their cleanliness was about on par with a lot of the other groups. So it wasn't really that, like, they weren't astronomically clean. They had some really tough moments in this where it was just a little bit hard to not see the mistakes. But I will say with MANNEQUEEN, they really followed the assignment and went for it, and their stuff still meshed with the rest of the choreo, but it was freaking hard. That stuff was hard. I don't know if I would be able to execute it either. Like, my splits, no bueno, right? I would find somebody else in the crew being like, can you do the splits? You're gonna do that section, you know? So I wonder if they made different formation choices, like who was in what part of the formation. I wonder if that would have affected the result of that little section with the hat. I don't know, but that's gonna be my vote. Yeah, that is the whole shebang, the whole thing. Wow, we did it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was helpful in some way. I really love watching crew battles or crew performances because it's definitely the wheelhouse that I just admire. I love choices, the formations, the content. I just love seeing it. And I love actually just being able to do some comparisons of seeing which crews really rose to the challenge and which crews kind of showcase some of their weaknesses. And I think here's the deal. Everybody here, I mean, all the crews, they went for it, you know, they did the best that they could in this type of challenge. And you know, there's gonna be other challenges that happen throughout the season that we're gonna see. Some crews rise to the top and some crews are gonna fall flat, and especially because you got to look at the creative stamina of this challenge, of these challenge and future challenges, because if this was just this, it's different, right? But you're comparing so many different scopes against each other the whole time. And not only as we're going along this journey, we're going to be starting to see some repetition of some stuff, and then they're going to get called out for it, and then that may result in them not doing as well in future challenges, because if they're putting out all the stops now and not growing, or not figuring out different ways to stay true to themselves, but not actually push it to the next level and make it different, we're going to see some crews work through that and struggle through that, which is something the Jam Republic that I've noticed in the freestyles, that may be something that they have to be very aware of. That just pockets of grooves, you have to be mindful of how you choose to emulate them. So, but yeah, I'm excited to continue along this journey with you. Please let me know which crew you would vote, which you voted for, and if you did, or who you would vote for. I love the discussions that we've been having so far, and I look forward to interacting with everybody in the future. So I will check you guys later. Bye!